Hi, I'm Bo Wright, your superintendent of schools. Welcome to a new school year. The start of the school year can be an exciting time, but it also can make us feel a little anxious. This year is going to be different, but that doesn't mean it can't be good. There's a lot of excitement in the air here in Rush-Henrietta. This is one of our favorite times of the year. For the next few months, some students will be learning in school 2 days a week, while others have enrolled in our remote learning academy and will be learning from home. Having some students learning at home while others are in school may make this school year a bit more challenging, but we simply need to work harder to make connections. Either way, I want you to know that you're still a Royal Comet. We're all in this together. We look forward to welcoming our students back. One of the first steps we had to take in our planning was to make sure that we could get students to and from school. This year there are going to be some changes. For example, we had to decrease ridership. So that means that there will only be one student per seat on the bus unless students live in the same household. Another change is that we're going to have hand sanitizing stations on each of the buses. And lastly, when students board the bus, they have to be masked 100% of the time, which is why I'm putting my mask on before I get on the bus. Although a lot of things are different this year, one of the things that hasn't changed are our friendly bus drivers. You'll notice that I'm not wearing a mask right now, but that's because I'm the only person in this hallway. During school days, students and staff will be required to mask at all times when moving about the buildings or when they're in hallways or other common areas. A lot of time, effort, and thought has gone into preparing our buildings so that students and staff can return safely. One of the things that I'd like to point out are these distance markings that are on the floor. Right now, I'm in one of our primary schools, but these markings and the dividing line, which helps with traffic flow, are going to be in all of our schools and will serve as reminders for students to remain 6 feet apart and distanced. So when it comes to classroom setup, we wanted to make sure, obviously, that we were following the health and safety guidelines from the State Education Department and the Department of Health, but we also wanted to make sure that our configurations allowed for meaningful instruction each and every day. You'll notice that when students are seated, each of the desks and tables are distanced at least 6 feet apart. As far as masking goes in a classroom, when students are seated and instruction is happening, they will be required to mask most of the time. However, if they're seated and distanced, there will be opportunities throughout the day for teachers to provide masking breaks with students. When students and staff are moving about the classroom, they have to be masked. You'll notice that there are stations within each classroom where we use Lexan barriers to divide students and teachers, to separate them, but it allows us to still have small group instruction to provide interventions and support services. So let's talk about what happens when students are in the cafeteria. The first thing to point out is that there will be many less students in our buildings because so many of our learners are going to be participating in the remote learning academy. And then those students that are in school are part of a hybrid model, and they're divided into 2 cohorts. So they are attending on an alternating schedule. So really, we have less than 40% of our student population in our buildings at one time this year. When students go through the cafeteria line, they'll be distanced, they will be masked in order to expedite the process so that students aren't lingering in larger groups. Lunches will be prepaid and prepackaged. When they move about the cafeteria, they'll have to be masked. However, students are allowed to remove their masks once they sit down, and these safety barriers that are made of Lexan have been installed in cafeterias and on cafeteria tables as well. Students and families, I want you to know that it's okay to have a range of emotions when you return to school, whether it's in person or online. Some of you will be excited and others will be nervous. It's been a while since we've had a routine together. That's one reason why we recently shared a mental health survey with students and their parents. In each of our schools, support is available from a trusted adult. Please see our list of key contacts on the district's website. You can see it right on the screen there. Whether you're attending school or learning at home, these staff members are here for you. This year, the social-emotional well-being of our students is our top priority. We'll be focusing on 5 essential social-emotional learning skills with students in grades K-12. That will be true throughout the school year as we help students adjust and learn coping skills for life. Fortunately, we have a great start on this work. In fact, more than 50 of our teachers attended a 3-part learning series on how to address social-emotional learning, and they'll be sharing their knowledge with others this year. This year's going to be challenging, but it's still going to be worthwhile.
I especially want you to hear this. While some parts of the school experience will be different this year, the most important part has not changed. The same teachers and staff members who care so much for you are still here. Whether you're learning at school or at home, they can't wait to see you.
What we need most from our students, parents, and employees is grace. Kindness is going to be so important this year. We've all been impacted by this pandemic, and we all have stories to tell about what's happened to us over the course of the past few months. Kindness will go a long way in terms of helping all of us succeed this year. Remember, be safe, stay healthy, and continue taking care of each other this year.